Hello and welcome to Truckers World for another video. Hope you're doing well out there. Not doing too bad myself. On a bit of a late shift today. Nice easy late shift, but I'll be finishing probably about 9:30 in the evening. Still quite light out though. So it's not too bad. So today's video, we've been through all the days I went through my classroom training and tried to explain what I did along the way. Now it's time for some hints and tips to try and get you through either your Class C or Class C and E. I think some of these hints will work both ways. So, where we're going to start from? Okay, where we're going to start? Well, first of all, I was taught on my Class C and E, and clearly it was fine because I was never pulled up on it, is when you're stopping, and you put the handbrake on, you don't have to put it into neutral. You're waiting at roundabout, you don't have to put it into neutral. Okay? Likewise, when you pulled over, side of the road, examiner might say, right, pull over here, side of the road, you don't have to put it in neutral. Handbrake on, and same, a give way sign, a stop sign. He told me that once you put it into drive, you leave it in drive, that's it. Because you don't need to. You're not going to get marked down on it, and if you then put it into neutral and you come to start it, especially with a Class 1 wagon, there might be a slight danger if it's on a hill that you might roll back, and that's instant fail. So, just bear that in mind. Okay, next one. I would say when you first start learning, there's a lot to take in, and your instructor will probably throw a lot of stuff your way. Now, if he's a good instructor, he won't literally kind of drown you with instructions. My first instructor did a little bit of that first. He was telling me as I was going around the corner, look, mirror, this. It's far too much information. What I would suggest first, this is only my opinion, I would suggest concentrate on the driving part first. Driving, whether it's Class C or Class C and A, going around corners at the right angle, concentrate on the road, concentrate on driving. Yes, you do need to obviously work on those mirrors, that's vital, simple as that, but that needs to be implemented when you've got the driving part done. Once that's cracked, then you can start learning to do that, because what I found on my Class 1 was once I felt more comfortable in my driving, that freed up my mind space, so I was able to then focus more on the mirrors, etc. But if you're struggling with the driving, you're just not going to be able to focus on the mirrors as well. It's just going to be far too much information. So try and concentrate on driving first, I would say, as far as your learning experience goes. Next one is probably the most important tip, in my view, without a doubt, and that is slow down, especially Class 1. Whenever you're doing turning left or turning right, go very, very slow. There's nothing wrong with it, providing obviously, you're not going to be going through, lights just turned red, you're just about to turn, and you're going really, 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 really slow. Let's keep it real. At the end of the day, as long as you're going nice and easy, there's nothing wrong with turning that corner left, turning that corner right, and going really slow, because you can then, when you're turning, obviously you then go look in your mirrors, you're looking at your trailer at the back to make sure it's not touching the curb, or you're looking at your back wheels in a Class C wagon, all that kind of stuff, and then you've got to look to the front to make sure you're okay with the car on the other side. So much there to look for. If you're rushing around that corner and going a bit too fast, you're going to miss something. If you go nice and slow, nice and easy, yeah, I'm okay there, yeah, I'm just okay with this car, yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the best thing. Same when you're going through towns, might be 30 mile per hour speed limit. You don't need to go 30 miles an hour. Half the time I was going through towns, especially in the Class 1, driving at 20 miles an hour, because I'm going through traffic nice and easy, nice and slow. I didn't need to. Same on the motorways as well. We know the speed limit's 60. A lot of your wagons will probably be capped at 56 miles an hour, but you don't even need to do that. Just do 53 miles an hour. Because what you don't want to do really is overtaking. You want to keep in the inside lane, nice and slow, 53 miles an hour. You're not going to get pulled up on it. So always go slow, and especially when you're driving through towns, because it gives you that chance, for example, when you're passing parked cars, to position yourself, and you can analyse things a lot more. So when you're coming up to parked cars, you can think, can I get around that? Yep, I can do. Is the car's coming? No. Or maybe yes, okay. I can sneak through there slowly, or I'll pull in. Everything's just nice, slow, and easy, and that's what you want. Okay, the examiner's looking for really safety. He's looking for you being a safe driver. And although as car drivers, we do tend to go, maybe a little bit faster than normal at times, or weaving in, weaving out. You've got to get your mind out of that habit, and that's it. You're a learner, and that's it. You're going to go nice and slow. Forget everybody else. Once you get into that habit, once you keep telling yourself, go slow, go slow, go slow, it really helps. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously, don't take that out of context. You do have to keep up with traffic, but I'm simply saying I would go slow more than fast. It's the single best thing that helped me on my class one. So, next thing, obviously you've got to learn your positions within that road. Now, obviously that interlinks with going slow. So obviously make sure you're learning those positions, even if you have to write them down or draw a diagram on a bit of paper. That's what I did. So when I was turning left, I draw a bit of a diagram and think, yep, I have to go all the way out here, then come all the way back in again. That kind of thing does actually help. It really does. Likewise, when you're ready to turn left or right, especially in class one, and you're waiting at the lights, for example, to go through, what I did on my test and while I was learning is I would look for things on the road. So I see grids a little bit further, about 3/4 of the way forward, and I thought, right, that's the part where I need to turn. And most of the time it helped. Most of the time it helped. I just try and think of something a little bit further afield, think, right, that's where I'll turn, and you're analysing things. And again, when you go slow and you're beginning that manoeuvre of either turning left, turning right, the slower you go, the more chance you've got to absorb all the information, to work out a plan in your mind of when you're going to turn, how you're going to do it. It all helps. But obviously your positioning will come with your instructor, and he'll give you those as well. Okay. One of the big things was my worries, obviously, is blind roundabouts, and they're everywhere. They're horrible. You get to them, you can see a car coming around, you can't see anything else. And obviously, if you're in a big wagon, class one especially, you put your foot down, and sometimes it can be very, very slow, and they are worrying. Also, as well, passing parked cars. Now, I was taught simply that, you've got to find that gap. As soon as you get that 1 second gap, you've got to go. And I said, well, what if a car comes quickly forwards? What if a car comes round all of a sudden? And he said to me, obviously, he cannot speak for every single scenario going, but if it was clear when you went, when you had that quick half-second gap when it was clear, if he comes flying around that corner, then obviously that's not your fault. Likewise, if you have a quick look and passing a parked car and there's nothing there, and you quickly go to the manoeuvre and suddenly someone pulls out the side road or rushing through, that's not your fault because it was clear when you went. And I think that's really important because they're very worrying, these blind roundabouts, or any roundabout for that matter, because you think you can go and suddenly someone comes barging round. Try not to worry. Obviously, that will depend on the examiner and the scenario itself. However, the general rule is if it's clear when you go, if someone suddenly speeds round a corner or towards you, it was clear when you went, that's their fault. Likewise as well, just a quick one, when I turn left with class ones, and sometimes you might get this for class two, and obviously you're facing oncoming traffic, sometimes they actually move backwards to give you room. No, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. However, sometimes you might think, oh, I've made a car move, I've made him switch position. Not true. As long as you keep turning and you avoid the front line where they're waiting at, it doesn't matter. They've decided to reverse, give you extra space, that's fine. But as long as you don't encroach on their space, then it's fine. As long as you can complete your manoeuvre, avoiding their original space, you'll be fine with that. And that's also likewise when cars coming towards you. I passed one or two vehicles on my test. The car swerved a little bit out of the way. However, there's more than enough room. That's a huge mistake. And again, that can be worrying on your test. There's no doubt about it. If you go past a parked car, and the other guy coming towards you has stopped, but there's clearly enough room on each side, you won't be penalised for that. But it is a worry. But just bear that in mind. If you're unsure, obviously you've got to wait. But as soon as you get that gap and you think, right, that's it, I'm going. If suddenly someone comes towards you then, and he wasn't inside when you set off, then I don't think you can be penalised for that. At least that was what I was told anyway, and it does make sense from an examiner's point of view. It's fair play, isn't it? Okay, so what I would also like to say as well is that on your test, it's more than likely you will probably do something and you'll be worried. You think, bugger, have I just messed up there? Have I made a mistake there? Your heart will stop. It'll be beating fast. It won't be nice. You know, you've just got to keep going. That's something I wrote down on a piece of paper. No matter what, just keep going because you don't know whether it's something serious. I did that on my Class C test. I went to approach the roundabout. There's a car coming from the right. It was a fairly big roundabout, but I thought I can get through there. What's the point in stopping? I can get through. I went through, but I only just made it. And I thought to myself, I may well have made him slow down there. And it was on my mind a little bit, but you have to keep going. You have to keep going to the very end. You know, don't assume that you made that mistake and you balls it all up because it might not be the case. And if you then have that mind frame, you'll be defeated or you might even give up completely. I read a story on the internet not so long ago that someone had taken the wrong exit somewhere down the line. And he asked to go back to the test centre before he buggered up. When he got back to the test centre, the examiner said, actually, well, you could have carried on. You know, you got my fact, you could have actually carried on. So it's a bit nuts, isn't it? Excuse me. So, yeah. And that also goes on to, obviously, to a very common question that they get asked as well. Is obviously, if you take the wrong route, you can't fail for taking the wrong route, providing you do everything safe. And one of my trainer actually said that on one of the turnings where you go left and immediately right, he said to me, he said, if you don't fancy that turning on the right-hand side, just go straight ahead. As long as it's safe, you won't be penalised. He'll just simply get you back on track and just pick up a minor if you're unsure about that particular turning. Now, obviously, you can't do that for everyone, but it's just something worth knowing maybe, you know, on the odd turn. But don't quote me too much on that. If he says clear left here or turn left and you go straight ahead, it might be a little bit worrying, but there we go. And the last thing I probably want to give you a tip on, really, this video's getting slightly long, is, you know, keep telling yourself that it is an important thing to pass your test, and you will want to, especially these guys who have paid a lot of money, and I understand that totally, but you've got to keep saying to yourself here, you know, there are more important things in life, and that's what I tried to think about. You know, I even bought a picture of my little boy, you know, and the little girl at times, little notes and stuff like that, just to remind me that, you know what, if I fail, it's not the end of the world. It's not life and death. There are more important things that can go wrong in my life, and it just helped calm me down a little bit, you know. Also listening to some calming music as well, funny enough, just to help calm me down, you know, just to help relax you a little bit, and just to bring back what's important. So when you know, well, if you did fail, I don't want to say when, but if you did fail, at least then you can look at something and say, you know what, I'll keep going with this, but that's what's important in my life, and that's really important to remember. I know it's not easy to put it in practice, so I'm not even going to preach to you about, yeah, you should do this, you know, I'm not, but it's just something there to assist you as you go along, really, on your journey. You know, you will hear a lot of people saying, get a good night's rest, you know, don't worry about it, you know, if you fail, you know, the examiner will give you a free lesson, tell you where you went wrong, you know, be positive. You're not going to be, at the end of the day, you're not going to get a good night's rest, you know, you are going to be a bit stressed and worried, you're not going to get rid of those nerves. It's simple as that. You have to accept them, accept why they're there, to help you get better. It's not a nice experience being on a test, as simple as that, and if you do fail, you're going to be gutted. But you've just got to try and keep it within context, really, and remember obviously what's important. Anyway, enough of that. So I hope some of those tips have helped you. I really do, and hopefully, you know, you guys will get through out there eventually. You know, it's not easy, but yeah, keep going with some of those tips. Learn as much as you can. Watch videos, draw diagrams, and really get yourself into it. And just remember, the best tip, slow down. Whatever you do, just do everything nice and slow. Okay? Well, thank you for watching. I'll put some more videos on soon about different bits and bobs. Hopefully, just in my scenario, I might be getting some Class 1 training and moving up in the world that way. So I will give you some hints and tips on that and post you some videos of what I'm going to do. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for the next video.